Welcome to the Mechanical Room. The Mechanical Room.
A Centrotherm production focusing on all things in and around the HVAC industry.
And now, your hosts, Michael Sokaris and Matthew Price.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, venting enthusiasts the world over, welcome to the October edition of the Mechanical Room podcast. It is Matthew Price flying solo for the time being. Mike Sokaris, my co-host, who is typically sitting directly to my left, is traveling across the great land of Canada this week. He is, of course, going out there checking on all of our national accounts, cracking the whip on Dan Smith, our Canadian regional sales manager, and, of course, just making sure everything's going nice and smooth out there in the great land of Canada. So, unfortunately, Mike will not be with me today. He's, of course, here in spirit at this juncture. I'll flash this little bit of cartoon of what I imagine he looks like right now. Maybe you guys are familiar with Dudley Do-Right. It's Mikey Do-Right. He is atop his steed in Canada right now, mustering across the mountains and making sure everything is going swimmingly out there in the great white north. And I'm sure everything is fine. Quick shout out again to Dan. Shout out to JF. Our friend at the Lambert and Beijing, and Steve, we love those guys. Christian, they're up there in Quebec, which is a big part of what's going on this week. It's Master Group Oktoberfest on Thursday, and I don't know if you've been keeping up on our social channels here, but the Master Group and Centrotherm just did strike a national deal, so there's been a bunch of hoopla around that, and it's wonderful because it ties in very, very nicely with their Oktoberfest celebration this week. I imagine they will be having a few pints and, discussing safe venting there in master locations across Canada. So I hope they have a good time and, everything works out well. And we look forward to working with Master Group, strengthening our relationship and, just making sure that we have a great partnership with them moving forward. So that is exciting news. We're just now both of our product lines are available throughout Canada in the Master Group locations. So if you're in need of good polypropylene venting or excellent air management systems, Master Group is a spot that you can go and look. But enough commercialism for now. This is the podcast. We hit on our product, and actually our guest today, Rob Kwiczak, is someone who is very, very well aware of both of our product lines. He's installed them at great frequency and professionalism. He actually takes really, really great photos as well. So we'll be talking to Rob Kwiczak in a little bit here. I myself just got back from some world travels. This is a good time to drop in some of these beautiful pictures I took. Very proud of the way that this turned out. I mean, it's not really a great secret. All I did was I increased the exposure so all the lights look all twinkly and whatnot, but I will also show this video. Amsterdam is one of my absolute favorite cities in the world. I had to travel to Duisburg, Netherlands last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, to attend some marketing meetings with the international marketing team for Centrotherm and Ubink, and we did some symposiums, and we had some, icebreaker type stuff and seminars. I presented a little bit, and then we did team building. This is a good opportunity to drop in this clip, which shows the global marketing presidents for the UCG all doing djembe hand drumming stuff. So let's take a quick look at that, because I took these videos for a reason, and then this is no better time like the present to showcase the team building stuff for the international marketing team, all of whom do an incredible job across Belgium, UK, Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, and France, of course. So that's what you're seeing now, is all these folks engaged in a team building exercise, which was a great deal of fun, and it's truly amazing to get to work with these folks and to get to know them, as part of this kind of giant global, conglomerate. So we've only increased our teamwork over the years, and it's been wonderful. So that was last week, but now we're back in the saddle with the Mechanical Room here in Albany, New York, and it's time to show us your pipe. Well, this is Michael Sokaris' favorite segment of the podcast, so I'm going to have to go double energy here to make up for the fact that he is traipsing across Canada now. And actually, our installation this month comes from Canada. Foundry Mechanical, they posted this just a couple days ago, and man, it is just a high-level professionalism as we showcase on this segment. I mean, you really can't beat this. Naturally, I have to call attention to the diamond plate, which is just incredible stuff, but really close. If you look, they have these cool diamond plate logos for their company, which is really nice. I mean, that's really going the extra mile here. You can clearly see the Foundry Mechanical logo embedded in this diamond plate piece that's just kind of offsets, or rather just really puts a certain je ne sais quoi on this extremely professional installation that does feature LEDs and stuff like that too. I mean, the whole thing from soup to nuts is extremely professional and really impressive. So this definitely far and away wins the October Show Us Your Pipe award. Just a few other manufacturers that are featured on this. I'm just going to read it right off the post. Calefi, Calefactio, Grundfos, Webstone, Watts. It's an NTI boiler. Vega, EcoSmart Air. I mean, nothing but industry leaders throughout this mechanical room here, and I mean the level of professionalism is about as high as you can get with this sort of things. And I apologize for my phone going off here. Obviously, very excited. People out there in radio land want to get in touch and talk about this Foundry Mechanical installation here, which really is, I mean, there's a high level you can reach, and then where do you go from there? I mean, how do you make this better? I'd be curious as to get some constructive criticism. How would you improve this? This looks flawless from top to bottom, using these category leaders at every turn. And I mean, great job out of these guys for taking the time out to document it as well. Obviously, I'm showing the entire video here throughout this segment over and over again to highlight this incredible installation. Well-deserved October winner of Show Us Your Pipe, Foundry Mechanical. Welcome back to the Mechanical Room, and today we have a couple of extra special guests here. First and foremost, to my left is Joel Dzekciorius, our CEO, sitting in today for the interview portion of the program, in which we welcome Rob Kwiczak of RNJ Mechanical out of the great province of Alberta. If you're following our Instagram, then you may be familiar with RNJ because Rob does a great job installing Air Excellent and Inaflu products, and he posts incredible photos, including some really picturesque stuff that I will flash across the screen a little bit here. Rob provided me with a great deal of his photography, backing up his claims that he is one of the top Air Excellent installers across the great country of Canada here. So you got a hell of a bio here that you sent me. So just a few things. As you started in the trades in 1989. That's plumbing in high school is where you started. That's like 20 years before Alex was born. Alex is sitting out over there. She was born in 2000. So, man, you've been at this for twice her lifetime at this point. Atco Gas on your resume, fire restoration, new construction, backflow prevention. You've worked with fireplaces, heaters, barbecues. You worked as a gas utility supervisor. I mean, you've got a very long resume, which we're going to get into. And of course, you sent me also some fun stuff. You're an outdoorsman. You like water skiing and boating and regular skiing, I suppose, which is some common ground with you, Joel. He's also an avid skier. So say hello to our guest.
Yeah, so avid. I went once last year with my Icon pass that I paid for.
Well, Joel.
Oh,
Please greet our guest here.
You can see I'm not the pro that Matthew here is, but yeah, hey, welcome, Rob. We're really excited to have you today and to hear more about yourself and RNJ and what you guys do.
Indeed. So I guess a good way to kick this off would be, how did you find out about Centrotherm? Air Excellent specifically, that's still a very new product in Canada. So you're one of, let's say, a maven here, one of the first people to handle it, touch it, and install it with any great frequency here. So how did you find it, first of all, and just kind of run down some of your experiences with it?
Yeah, well, start by saying thank you for having me. It's great to be on the Mechanical Room. Did a bit of research and you got some big names on here, so thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So I live in British Columbia, and the way I heard about it was really actually through social media. So your marketing team is doing a fantastic job.
Those guys.
Those guys. Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of an old dog learning new tricks. Like you say, I've been in this business for a long time, and 30 years ish. And I just love new technology, and I'm always learning, and I really enjoy it. So things like InnoFlu, the RLS, the press technology that's come out, and of course Air Excellent, which I really enjoyed working with, and it's a fantastic product. I've done lots of HRVs in my time, and this system knocks it out of the park.
We sort of think we know, but what separates it from an alternative?
Well, the alternative is just round duct, sheet metal, and a lot of labor balancing. It's kind of funny. When I started getting to HRVs, my wife, it's kind of like the old air conditioner sort of aspect where the wife has to have air conditioning in her house, right? So each home we buy, it's like she doesn't ask for an air conditioner. She says, I want an HRV. And I'm like, okay, well, great. I can do that. And it's just having that fresh air in your home, and sometimes you buy older homes, newer homes, with the ventilation issues that you can find in those homes. Whether you're cooking lots or even in your bedroom, that fresh air, it's just like being outside all the time. It's a great way to exchange air efficiently.
Excellent.
So I feel like the woman in my house, because I'm the one who needs air conditioning. So
well, yeah. My wife is the one who's always like, we got to turn the heat up, is really what it comes down to. That's the battle, is the time tested, like husband wife thermostat battle is.
Yeah, we had an argument last night over I had it at 61, 63.
That's Fahrenheit for you Canucks, by the way.
Yeah, you'll have a little post-it note beside it. Is your sweater on? Before you adjust it, your thermostat, is your sweater on? Your slippers on?
That's really, really funny. So I appreciate the sort of the self-deprecating stuff about the old dog learning new tricks. What are some other concepts or products or stuff in the mechanical room that, even with your esteemed multi-decade resume, you're still learning about, or that excites you, in the morning? What's something that's like, okay, this is a job I got to do today. And obviously, number one is installing Air Excellent with an HRV, but like maybe
that's what I think he puts that on his to-do list every morning, right? It's like Air Excellent, install today.
Exactly. So what is a distant number two that gets you still excited, in the world of mechanical contracting?
A couple things. The press technology, I think it's prevalent everywhere on social media now, and
oh yes,
and that learning and that get it done attitude, and that innovation really draws me to perform better, to have longer lasting systems. It just and to make it look real good. Like my goal is to in the mechanical room is to make sure that my customers are trouble-free for a long, long time. And I warranty all my products, and picking the right products is the utmost importance for me, for my customer, because they're the end user at the end of the day. And my motto is, if I have it in my home, I'm going to sell it to you, and I treat every home like it's my own.
That's I mean, obviously a good mentality to have. I think you share that. You hit on something, community, not competition, which is very rich in BC, and I'm going to come back to that because it is something I want to talk about. You guys in BC do a really incredible job, also playing nice together. But back to the press technology stuff. That is everywhere on social media. Obviously it's a, people doing their pressing videos is like a constant thing. I was telling you about a video that had millions of views earlier today. It's one of
that's
those.
one of the 38.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Has there ever been something where you were reticent and have been won over, right? A new technology that we were like, oh, I don't think I could ever, this newfangled something or other is just not for me. I'm going to go the classic route. But then you learned it, you got training from the manufacturer or something like that, and it sort of changed your approach, and now you've become a regular user of something.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the industry for such a long time. I'm actually getting to the point where I'm pulling old stuff up. So the Poly B of the days, and I just wrapped up a massive project in a community called Salmonar, and I'm a big, I learned soldering 2-inch, 3-inch copper pipe, and it's an art. You have to know how to solder to make it look good, to have those joints hold, and have confidence when you leave the site that that's going to work forever, or until I get too old to and my apprentice takes over. But I haven't really had any blowback, about, don't use that stuff, it's newfangled, but it won't last or whatever. The people I surround myself with are that type of people that are progressive, and they want to learn new ways to do things as well, because it's the way of the future, and if you're not on board, get out of the way.
Well, I see a lot of boards back there behind you. So you talk about tricks, old dog, new tricks. I'm curious as to what your newest trick on the boards back there are. Well, and if you're still skating.
Yeah, I don't anymore, but I kind of admire him from afar a little bit now, with being my age, but which I'm not that old, but I probably could do a kick flip if I wanted. But yeah, I used to be into skateboarding quite a bit, and it taught me a lot in life, actually. It's like any sport would, baseball, hockey, football. You're gonna get knocked down, and I've been knocked down so many times on a skateboard, on ramps and all kinds of stuff, that you got to learn how to get back up. Not everybody's going to have a fantastic day. Tomorrow's another day, or the next trick you got to learn. Just keep pushing, and I don't get a lot of that from the up and coming apprentices, to a point, but learning that, or knowing that you're not going to be good at or great at something right away. It's going to take some bumps and kicks, and you're going to be on the floor a few times before you're actually great at something. And as my role, I think that as a mentor, or to some of the people surround me, it's the most important thing, because mentors for me, unfortunately, a lot of them have passed away, which is unfortunate, but that just reinstills that motivation for me to learn some new tricks, and pass along what I know.
Well,
so,
it's great to have the mindset. You learn more from failure than from success, right? It's the expression. I know I didn't invent that. I'm stealing it from someone.
Yeah, I'm actually.
But I think it's great, and especially to make sure that the emphasis know that as well, and there's a acceptance of that. It's not really failure, right? It's really learning experiences.
That's actually what Mike says that to his kids all the time is
Right.
you either you win or you learn kind of thing is like a very dadly statement that he makes,
Yeah.
but it's pretty perfect. And I will clip that little speech that you made there, and we will post it individually as the Rob Kwiczak motivational segment of the podcast there, because a lot of good insight and also kind of true, and it does show it does lead back to that sort of community, not competition mindset, which is really, really rich in BC. Why? So we have personal friends in BC that are, I'm sure the same people that I'm talking about. What is it about British Columbia and Western Canada that engenders this sort of friendliness? Because it is certainly not the case in other parts of North America, where there is a little bit less, it's competition, but maybe it's a little bit less friendly, and it's certainly a little bit less stereotypically Canadian polite, which is, I see it, and it's actually really lovely. And I've, just to drop a few names, Colin Sadler, Terrence Chan, Daryl Wong, these are people, Ben Thompson. These are all people who have that same sort of us mentality for the trades mentality. And that's not to say that there aren't people like that. Michael Flynn is very much like that. Eric Auney and Mechanical Hub is very much like that as well. But why is Western Canada just such a fertile ground for this type of stuff?
I honestly believe, especially in my case, is the landscape. It's really, for me, especially out here in Lake Country, my nearest wholesaler is an hour away, and so it's an hour there and an hour back. It's 2 hours out of my day. If I forget one fitting, my day's shot, or something doesn't come in, or what have you. So, and also, for I go back to my experiences. You want to help your fellow man. Is really kind of what it sort of boils down to, or woman.
In the case of the pipe wench, of course, yes.
Right, yeah. So being out here, there's a few plumbers and HVAC guys and Leslie out here that we all bounce stuff off each other. We all have our strengths. So knowing that, it's great to have somebody to lean on, or somebody to bounce stuff off of. And as far as community over competition, it's sort of a mindset. It's going into your day. I'm not out to steal work or to better anyone. I think it's a camaraderie that everybody wants to do really, really well, and do it well. And I always think of every job as my showcase. I put my logo on every job. It's like that mentality. I'm going to put the sticker on this, because I want somebody to know that hey, this is who you call if something goes wrong. But also it's my signature. It's I used to work for the gas company, and we would do underground fusion joints and things like that. And my guys would you always have to use permanent ink on your fusions. So you join two pieces of pipe and you have to permanent ink and date it and stuff like that. But they always sign it, and they might even put a little note on it. So if it ever fails, they own it. And you get that out here. It's that ownership.
How often then are you calling up, say, Bob Baker? He's another guy in Alberta. I don't know if you know him personally or not, but he's a friend to the program and to Centrotherm. How often are you calling him up being like, hey, I need this valve. You got this valve on your truck? I mean, that's what you said. Your wholesaler is kind of a distance. I'm just curious about on the nuts and bolts level. I need this elbow. I need this something. I mean, that's happening with good frequency, and you guys are sort of trading inventory.
Yeah, absolutely. I get called, Bob's a little further away, so I'm not really in touch with him. My daughter lives in that area, so I actually ran into him, and that's what the social circle of Instagram and social media is. It's like, hey, I know that guy. I'm gonna introduce myself at the wholesaler. He's like, hey Bob, how are you? And growing that community and camaraderie, and it's really prevalent, especially with social media, because you don't really know someone, but you know their content and you know who they are, and their views. And
So do you think that in your experience, do the people that you see on social media when you meet them in person, do the personalities parallel, or do you find them to be totally different?
He wants you to call somebody to the carpet here.
I'm not. Please don't. But I'm just asking the question. If you see that the people are authentic, or if people are
putting it on,
creating a persona.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like a shtick. It's a mixed bag. That's actually the funniest thing. I came out here to the Shuswap, and I didn't really know a lot of people that spoke 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm getting into Instagram, and I'm scrolling as you do, and there's plumbers around posting stuff on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, well. And you get to see their posts and the fun they have at work, and it's like, I want to be part of that. That looks really cool. But there's other social media podcasts and things like that. They're just regurgitating content just to be to be relevant and things like that. So you stay away from people that do stories on their Instagram that you get to see and really be a part of. Those are the ones you want to, you get to choose who's in your life, and with social media you kind of get to do that.
So I went through and I dropped a few names of people that are in your basic nebula of Western Canada, right? The Impetus, HVAC Strong. These guys have legions of followers and do professional work. Who is somebody that's maybe not in your backyard? Or just name some other folks who are sort of inspire you in that respect, who either post extremely professional looking installations or tips and tricks that you learn from, or just funny and engaging stuff. Like all three of those things I'm actually curious about.
Yeah, so interesting content would be probably Jeff Dem. Some of his installs and some of the work he's done is pretty spot on. And I can see he does furnace every couple of days. It's like a production line, and he works for a bigger company, and you get really good and really fast, and quickly, and that's kind of how I was 20 years ago, but and being out here in Lake Country, you're not as busy as somebody in the downtown Jersey or whatever. But some of the content that I've seen, like for innovation, probably Jeff Dem, Flynn, those guys. I talk quite a bit with not quite a bit, but Colin. We chat every once in a while. He's part of the tech board. So we have we've both sat on chaired boards and things like that too. So we have had a couple conversations about that. And Ben, he's got great content. He likes to talk in front of the camera, and you kind of get to know the guy, and it's like you slide in your DMs and say, hey, how's it going? Like that was spot on, like good job or whatever. So so that it's a and then of course there's the fun content, the guys out there that are just having fun out there and doing funny stories that you just kind of get somewhat entertained. And yeah.
So I saw in the profile that you worked as a supervisor for the gas company for a long time. How did you make that transition to and why did you make that transition?
Yeah,
to business ownership, right?
Yeah, so well, working for the gas company was a great experience. And I had my company before I had worked for the gas company. It was called Akita Gas Fitting, and it was based out of Calgary. And I did a lot of fireplaces, gas lines, and things like that. And then I met my wife in '97, actually right out my front door on the Shuswap Lake, and and that brought me to Drumheller, Alberta, and spent approximately 18 years there. And you know, working for the gas company was great. And you know, my old man used to say, you know, get on with, you know, he was the mentality to get on with one company and retire. You know, I think we all know that, you know, though that doesn't really work nowadays, but you know, you're always changing and growing. But yeah, getting on with the gas company really instilled a professionalism in me, and a real strong safety focus. And I carry that through my business, and yeah, and then you know, my daughter finished university, so the bank of dad was over, and and so we decided, you know what, let's you know, do something for us, and you know, and move to BC, and we vacation out here loads, and we just love it out here. And decided in on the Shuswap Lake, and fell in love with here, and you know, keep busy, and I started up RNJ Mechanical, and haven't turned back. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Now your daughter has a place to visit that's on the water, is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Or near the water?
Yep.
Yeah, it's yeah, we're about a block from the water, which is great. She comes out you know, 2-3 weeks in the summer, and Christmas in the winter, and enjoys the snow, and it's a beautiful place to live. Snowshoeing in the mountains. Yeah, it's quite a place to live. It's lots to do. You know, from boating to mountains to, you know, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, hiking and all stuff.
Yeah, you sent me some great photos that I'm going to pepper in throughout, just highlighting the air that you're getting when you're doing the water skiing and stuff, which obviously your skateboarding helps with that, I suppose, center of balance and all that sort of stuff. When we were reviewing the photos, we couldn't quite decide what that bobsled / derby racer photo thing was. What was that? So it was a wonderful looking contraption there, like a bathtub or a shower on wheels with handles. What was that for? It's an amazing contraption you put together there.
Yeah, that was so cool. That was such a fun event. It's actually for the bed races. So
okay, so that was in your bio as well. I was going to ask about what the heck that was.
Yeah,
my bed typically doesn't have a shower head on it, so
yeah. Yeah, so you're tasked to build a bed with like a single sized bed, and then decorate it as much as you want. So I thought, well, let's you know, I wasn't, you know, brand recognition out in the Shuswap to you know, I thought I'd plaster RNJ all over it. But the fun part was to make it look like a tub instead of a bed, and put the shower on, and it ties back to our community over competition. And you know, like I had a plumber from Gary from Salmon Arm come out and help push, and Leslie, and we had the rigid flag flying on the back, and just to really make it look like a plumber theme. And it's to support the Kinsman Club out here, which is a nonprofit a nonprofit, I'm losing the word, a nonprofit out here that, charity that helps out with, you know, anything that happens in anything in the community that they support.
So please send me the link, and I'll include it in the description and all that sort of stuff as well, so we can, you know, we support charity.
It was a race, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so I think the real question is, did you win? Right. That's, I think, what.
And I know where he's going with this.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't win, then
what? Second place is the first loser.
That's the one.
Yeah, no, we won. Yeah, no, we were fast. I was pretty sore, but we definitely won.
Oh, wow.
Excellent. That's funny. I will of course include these photos, and I'll include the organization link as well in description. We are starting stuff. Where are we on that football? We're are we sponsoring that team? To put them on the spot over here.
So we are. Long story. I'm not going to put it on the podcast. I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
It's not us. It's
not-
not me. It's you, kind of thing.
Okay.
So we're waiting on. We're waiting on them. Right
So
now.
we've for a long time kicked around, what's the best way to get involved with the community and stuff like that. And we were barking up the youth tackle tree here a little while ago. I guess it's not gonna work out. So
No, it's gonna work out.
oh.
We're waiting on them to send us the invoice.
okay,
With
perfect.
their tax ID number and all that
Excellent.
stuff. So it's a little more. It's a little bit of a hot mess, but it's not our hot mess. It's their hot mess.
Well,
So at Centrotherm, we're part of, we're in the center of South Albany, which is somewhat economically disadvantaged. So we're looking at, how we can be a better part of the community. And so we're trying to, maybe engage a little bit more on funding youth sports as a way to,
Give back.
to contribute.
Yeah. One day we'll have to get you down to the factory, Rob. I'm currently talking with a few people in BC who also want to come down. So, we can advance that as well. We have a nice story to tell and a nice little facility here. And I know you'd like to see it. So.
Oh, Rob, where do you ski?
Water ski, you mean?
No, snow ski. I saw snow skiing.
Snow ski? Actually, that was snowshoeing. So we live in.
Well, then it's not interesting anymore.
Can you do a black diamond on those tennis racket shoes or?
Well, walking in 4 feet of snow with snowshoes is no easy task for sure.
No, it's not.
It is not.
I probably need to do it. My doctor's probably going to tell me to take up snowshoeing.
Yeah, and we certainly need to watch out for mountain lions and all that sort of stuff up here too. Yeah.
Have you encountered those on the trail?
Sorry?
You've encountered that wildlife on the trail?
Not recently, but you get to know the community, and they go, they text, we have groups on Facebook and things like that. Hey, watch out! There's a family of mountain lions close. Yesterday there was a grizzly bear in the community next to me that was eating a moose.
Oh my goodness!
There, and even in my own yard, we get bears all the time. Yeah.
So do you have snow already?
Not yet, no. We're closer to the lake, so we get a little more humidity than higher elevations. So we're down a little lower to the lake. So right now it's raining. We'll probably won't get snow that really sticks to the ground till mid-December-ish. But I hear Calgary has got a dump of snow in Alberta. So
we got some photos, and actually, our sales manager in the Central in Minnesota was showing us some photos. It was pretty mucky out there. They were getting some snow.
It didn't look like it was going to stay. It didn't look like it was.
Well, it was the first snowy precipitation of the year.
Yeah.
And of course, as a heating company, that excites us.
It does. Yeah, we all get all excited. It makes our internal news feed.
yeah,
Post for snow.
that's right. Yeah.
The demand driver.
So, who's your hockey team? You've been around in Western Canada there, so there are a few options. I mean, if you say Oilers, then I think
I saw his face. He might say he doesn't like hockey.
Is that
Actually,
He might lose his citizenship.
I grew up with hockey.
Okay.
I'm a true blue Calgary Flames fan. So
All right. I was gonna say our I don't know if you know Dan, of course. He's a big Flames guy as well. I was gonna say if you said Oilers, he would probably track you down and assure that you could never install Air Excellent again. But yeah, if you're Flames, I guess you're gonna pass his test there. So that is good. Oh, that's funny. I mean, he lives and dies by the Flames too. You're a lifelong Flames fan as well, then?
Yeah, absolutely. My family is all Flames, and we have family rivalries too. My sister-in-law and her whole family is our Oiler fans, so we have some good conversations there.
I'm sure it can get interesting and ugly. I was born in the Bronx, and I'm not so much a big sports fan anymore, but in my adolescence, I was a very big Yankee fan, and of course, anybody who was a Red Sox supporter was,
Persona non grata.
Yeah, basically just the most evil you could be. Yeah. I mean, actually at that time it was more like you were a joke, because they never won anything when I was a kid. Now it's obviously they've erased the curse, and it's been much more competitive over the years and all that. So it's not, not as exciting as what
And you're
used to.
losing Aaron Judge to Boston?
Is that what's going to happen? Do you think?
I don't know. He went to free agency, right? Or he goes to free agency after the World Series.
And the Yankees are on the brink of elimination.
No, they're gone.
Oh, is that it? Did they lose?
Yeah.
They
wow,
lost.
you're really.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm not following.
They lost in 4 straight.
So yeah, I knew they were.
They got smoked.
I knew they were down 3, which is really funny because Altuve has some local. So Jose Altuve has some local flavor. He played for the Valley Cats in Troy.
Oh, okay.
So he's on the Astros now, of course, who are noted. They're very similar to the Patriots in as much as they cheat and everyone knows about it. Well, it's just true. It's a fact. I mean, this Altuve guy is really funny because in this area, he's a bit of a celebrity because he played minor league ball when he was a kid. But now he's known as someone who was part of like stealing signs and all this sort of stuff. So
I don't know how stealing.
Well, if you know a fastball is coming, that changes your entire outlook on how you gear up for a pitch.
Right, but I mean, I just don't understand how like you wouldn't try to steal signs.
Well,
right?
there's a bit of gamesmanship.
I mean, isn't that like what you would?
They were using like technology.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So they were getting into some James Bond stuff.
Okay. Well,
which was then proven.
Sounds like Bill Belichick all over it.
Yes. Indeed.
Right.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
How did it? Well, so all right. So I'm less familiar with hockey. How do you cheat in hockey? I'm kidding.
You can't. I don't think you.
Maybe,
You gotta sneak in a cross check. That's the only thing is like getting away with stuff, right? Is really the only way you can do it.
I mean, think of when I grew up, I played hockey and I was a goalie, and so Ron Hextall was my
you could like
idol.
stick somebody.
I mean, there was the always in the back of the legs because there was no guards back there. There was a stick between the legs. You could do a lot with that stick as a goalie to get people out of the crease area. So.
Yeah, my era was the Mike Vernon days of the Flames for goalies. Anyways, he was a big. Got us. Did he get us to the cup? I think so. But yeah. Mike Vernon was speaking of goalies. Grant Fuhr, that was the big battle between those 2 goalies.
Sure. So we're getting towards the end here, as obviously we've transitioned from the mechanical room to random stuff. We would be remiss if I didn't say Mike Sokaris, who is not here, his favorite band is Judas Priest. It comes up every single time. Are you a metal guy? Are you do you like polka? What kind of music you listening to? What are you playing at the job site?
Wait, hold on, I'm gonna try to guess. I'm gonna say grunge.
Grunge. Skater guy. Ooh, that's an informed guess right there.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, for sure. Grunge, and I was into punk a lot too. So the DRI, Green Day, grunge stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Did you go as deep as the Clash or the Sex Pistols?
Sex Pistols. Sure. I mean that's like seminal punk stuff, I suppose.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pre-punk. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So what was the last concert you went to? Just for example, or what do you got tickets to coming up?
Well, with COVID and stuff, we just kind of put that off our radar. But I've seen Metallica 2-3 times. Big fan of Tragically Hip, but are no longer around, unfortunately.
R.I.P. Gord.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very Canadian, by the way. Very. That's a very Canadian answer.
Yeah.
I mean, Hip is not really that well known. Like Fiscarelli was like, that was his favorite band, which is he was a former extrusion operator for us here. And it was just sort of, I don't know. The Hip is extremely popular and well known across Canada, much, much less so in the US. But Fiscarelli, I love them.
Really?
Like to Canada, Canada's Gord Downey and the Hip is kind of like the States with Bruce Springsteen. Is the best analogy.
Sure.
Oh wow! Oh
Absolutely.
wow! Okay, that's a different. Yeah, they're not that.
Yeah. That was a nation in mourning when he passed away, which actually he passed away from the same thing that my mother passed away from. So it's a very sad story. And everybody, I mean, you could feel the country took a hit. I mean, the Hip is a lifeblood like even more, like everybody loves Rush, but Rush is a global phenomenon, right? Canada doesn't claim Rush the way that they claim Tragically Hip.
Yeah, that last concert was a tearjerker for sure.
It really was.
For many people. Yeah.
Indeed. I wonder if what Dan's opinion is on the Hip. I'm not sure. Dan is he's a little bit of an older generation guy.
Yeah, so he was more like swing. Let's go back to what was
Tin Pan Alley.
Yeah.
Edison Wax Records. No, actually, he's more of a classic guy. Like you know, he's like a Rolling Stones, outlaw country kind of roughneck kind of fella. So I mean, but I wonder what he feels about the Hip too, because it does have that thick Canadian connection that like you have to be kind of in the know on it or from Canada to kind of feel that. And not everybody does, right? So I mean, that's why I was so surprised.
Yeah, I totally didn't know that.
Like when Kevin was like broken. I mean, when they announced that, it was just I mean, it was rough. And that final concert, as you mentioned, is certainly a tough one.
Yeah, definitely a loss to Canada and the work that he did with the Aboriginal and he'll be missed for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Rob, I've taken up a lot of your time today. Really appreciate all the things that you do. Keep posting. You're a great photographer on top of great installer, and we can't thank you for your contributions. We will obviously be in touch, and just keep on just stay in touch, and thank you for joining us here on the Mechanical Room.
Thank you very much, Rob. We really appreciated the time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I might see you at the AHR in February. So.
Oh. Absolutely. Are you laying the groundwork to come, or are you coming? Because we will be there.
Yeah, I registered. I'm ready to rock and roll. I contacted Ben Poole, and we'll see if I get some tickets there, and we'll see.
Excellent. Well, so does your tuxedo fit, or do you have to go get a new one?
No, I think I have to get it probably tailored.
Oh, he's going to the awards?
That's it. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, so this is the first I've heard of it, but we're excited. We are a sponsor, of course, of the HVAC Tactical Awards. And it's very exciting. Just one more thing I have to pack is my tuxedo to AHR. It's not something that
Is it purple?
It is not purple, but I should get one probably, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I should really get a high vis one, don't you think?
But
The high vis.
Can you do that though? I mean, what is the protocol if it says black tie and you show up in a high vis tuxedo?
I mean,
well, I think the last podcast, the last reel that Ben did was just don't worry about wearing a tux. Just wear maybe your Sunday best, but just don't wear shorts. That's what he said.
Well, it's an interesting community out there. There's a lot of people who like live in gym shorts in the HVAC world. So at least he's putting that out there. It was black tie, like official. I thought I am going to wear a tuxedo because that seems like the proper protocol. And I mean, if it's not, if
you're a rule follower, I think that's great.
Generally, yeah. More like I look great in a tux. So.
The ruffles, the blue with the white ruffles.
His tuxedo T-shirt is best in class quality.
Could I do a high vis cummerbund? Offset it, in like the little pocket square, perhaps, and get that in the Centrotherm color.
I'm a big fan of classic tux. I'm a traditionalist in a lot of things, so. That look, some of those things just does not it stands the test of time, I guess.
Yeah, and what I'm going for is, of course, like a nouveau, silly, kind of like Dumb and Dumber kind of look to it, right? Mike Sokaris and I, he should go
orange. What was it? Orange and powder blue?
Yes, indeed it was. Oh, God. Nice Hooters. The birds, they're beautiful. Another classic 90s movie there too. All right, Rob. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it, man. We'll be in touch really soon. Thank you for coming on the Mechanical Room.
Are you waiting for me?
Yeah, I'm recording this whole thing. It was like kind of like
reading I
was doing this too. I was just doing this like.
Did you see that?
No, just like looking at you.
You should see this. There's a whatchamacallit.
What do we got?
1:30 p.m. press conference Merrick Garland, FBI Director Ray, and National Security AAG Olson holds a press conference alleging criminal activity by a nation-state actor in the U.S.
Who could that be?
Lady G. Lady G is in trouble.
It's about time they bring these scofflaws to justice,
Yes,
whoever they
she's
might be
gonna-
out there. Oh my goodness.
He or she, I don't know what they go by, but is probably gonna get arrested for smuggling.
Documents?
I was gonna say something else, but I realized this is being recorded.
It is. This is always the loosest section of the whole thing
Yeah,
here.
I don't know. I have no idea. So I was just reading that. That I have no idea what it's about or who's on first or what's on second.
Well, you've heard it here first on the Mechanical Room, whatever those news breaks are.
Yeah, hot news break. We'll see what it is.
The RSS feed is going wild
It's
right
going
now.
wild. Yeah. Actually, it wasn't. It was a men's the dad's text chain that was forwarded on. It was a screenshot of someone else's RSS feed. I don't even have an. I don't even have an RSS.
I know
feed.
nobody really has that anymore. I mean, that was part of the joke. It's like 20 years old.
Oh,
right?
is it?
Yeah, who does that?
I
anymore?
remember seeing like a thing, you RSS feed, and I was like, nah, I don't really want more notifications.
I
They're
feel
distracting.
like you could probably. They're still offered, right? But now it's like a de facto way to get into someone's CRM, essentially. So like you sign up for it, and that just means you now get the emails or the notifications that you've requested, right? So
Is
it's
that
like,
what it is?
yeah, I mean that's what an RSS feed was, right? It was.
Well, I find it's all too distracting. Now that I never use social media, and now with our social media stuff, I look at it, and my wife is now annoyed. She's like, "Are you on Instagram again?"
What did Mr. Kwiczak say? What did our guest? How did he come to be aware of the Centrotherm organization?
Social media.
Yes, indeed. So it does work. People are looking at this. I mean, everybody poops, right? And now
Yeah.
everybody's got a phone these days. Got to occupy somehow. I know Alex is all on,
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
on the
but-
TikTok on the John, according to the cartoons that are upstairs. It's a little bit of an inside joke. If that cartoon is still up there, I'll take a photo of it and include it in the podcast. But it was a nice little drawing of Alex on the toilet enjoying TikToks.
Okay.
That's it. Ooh, like. Ooh, like. Ooh,
Okay.
share. Ooh, like.
Yeah. But, you know,
Do you have a favorite TikToker?
I don't have TikTok. I got Instagram and Reddit. They're both getting exhausting to me already. So I've been on them for like a few months, and I'm already burnt out, I think.
I'm gonna have you react.
But they're still addictive, right? So I'm
Oh,
burnt
that
out. And I
they
don't
are.
want to do it, but I still like, is there something new? And then I see the new stuff, and it's, my favorite thing was the Reddit anti-work blog channel, because I liked it because you could look at it and say, hey, are we doing some of these things? Sometimes you'd be like, that's a terrible employee. Wow, thank God they don't
Sure.
work for me. And then other times you're like, that's a terrible employer. Let's make sure we don't do that.
Right.
So I found it pretty sort of informative to say, how do you walk the line? Certainly there's change in what the cultural norms are and what expectations are, the change in the employee dynamic, all of these things. And so, it's interesting to see that. And then of course you hope, like, is this real, or am I in a feedback loop, right? Where these people are all the same type of person feeding back the same thing, and that's not really the norm. But my gut tells me,
It's probably a little bit of both.
fortunately or unfortunately, that there's been
Yeah.
a significant shift with COVID, right? In terms of the labor constraint that we have, right?
So you mentioned the other day malicious compliance, which is another good subreddit that I also enjoy.
Yes.
There's probably some good lessons to learn there as well.
There are great lessons, and then we have managers here and like, hey, I want to put this policy in. It's like make sure you think about that policy and
Sure.
what the impact
From a
is.
360-degree look almost too.
Yeah, there's always the fear, like, you have someone who's maybe not doing what you would like. So you're like, do you put a policy in place to change that behavior? But the problem is, if you want 100%, you're never going to get 100% compliance. And so the more you try to force policies to get 100% compliance, the more you're angering the 90% or 95% of the people that are doing it right? In order to police the 5. And so, that's not empowering your team. That's not trusting your team. and so we have to make sure as an organization that we don't put policies in place that drive malicious compliance. Right? I mean, you seriously, No,
it's true. I mean, that's why it is malicious compliance. And some of them, of course, you can comply in a way that is also counterintuitive to the actual rule itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, I think that's what the subreddit is really all about, is showing
Sure.
how the rule in place kind of has a...
Like denying employees when they have sick time or personal time or vacation time available and telling them they can't take time off. And then you're
But
like...
is that even legal, though, is the thing? Or, I mean, I guess you could mandate
employers can do that and say, yes, you can't have the day. So then what does someone do? Instead of it being scheduled off, they call out, right? And so,
Yeah.
now it's unplanned, and now as a business, you haven't planned for that, right? Hey, maybe it's less than ideal. Yeah, I get it. But at least you know.
Yeah.
And then, and then then we get into policing whether someone has a good enough reason, right? And who am I to judge
Certainly
that reason? And also, some people are really good actors, right? And I can't tell. I'm a sucker.
Or good liars.
Right. That's
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, yep.
that was my PC way.
That's
of
what
saying
I
about
tell
it,
Joel. It's
so.
like, Joel, I'm sorry, I won't be in on Wednesday. I gotta take my kids to the doctors. Or
Yeah,
something.
right.
Or my children have to go to the dentist.
You should say veterinarian.
Oh, that would make sense. Well, thank you for the tip.
Right.
So children I do not have, but
Right.
I do have a tangential relationship to a bunch of rabbits and chinchillas who do have to go to the veterinarian, which is why I'll be out for the rest of the week.
Right. We get that. Or people like they're out because their pet died, and and
You're sympathetic.
I'm a cold-hearted.
Well, that is your self-deprecating joke. You're sympathetic to it if it's real. There are certainly people who would be, sort of dejected and in a rough way.
My wife, was when our dog passed away, Stuart, Larry, Dzekciorius. My wife was devastated, right?
Yeah, of course.
He was a great dog, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they always say,
actually, all my kids were devastated.
Whoever they are, but compared to like a grandfather who lives, maybe 100 miles away, 200 miles away, that you don't see every day, you see on Thanksgiving or whatever, the dog is with you every single day, and you develop like an intimacy with that animal where you actually mourn your pet more so than human beings often. That's a real thing. I didn't make that up. I am truly the cold-hearted one as well. It's like, I don't care if your dog dies either, but like it is what it is, right? But some people certainly do have that, and it's legit. But I guess what the point is, it's hard to know where that line is.
It's impossible to know where that line is.
Right.
It's impossible to determine, So pick your back. Like why police it, right? Trust your employees to make the decision that's right for them.
This podcast took a nice right turn with the dog death conversation. A very bright note here at the end over here. So Joel's first real appearance here. We've dropped his name a handful of times. How was your? How did you feel today? You feel good about this?
I don't know. I'm no Mike Sokaris, right? I've got to level up a little bit. I think I was a little quiet. I held back on some one-liners. That maybe I had work.
The one-liners work a lot better in person when we do Zoom stuff, and Rob is in by the lake, whatever, in BC.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of like naturally talking over one another that happens, and like if his microphone, the way that these computer microphones are designed to do, they have like a heavy noise gate on them, so if it's silent, it like cuts away. So in person, if I suddenly talk, you hear me. If you suddenly talk into a microphone, sometimes it's like a little slow. Plus, we're using Wi-Fi. Plus, we're 3,000 miles away.
I think he's giving me cover for not being funny. Is what I'm.
You were very funny. Yeah, you had some good moments there.
Sure.
It's often hard to grade ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
we'll see. This is not a natural thing for me. I'm not a natural front man. I'm more of a.
You're the puppeteer. You're like behind the scenes.
Yes.
You like to pull the strings from behind.
So and Michael just is just a natural extrovert and does a really great job with this stuff.
It's a high I.
Yeah, and so this is certainly different for me and something that I have to work at or does not come naturally.
Well, I appreciate it.
Much like my my youth sporting career. It also didn't come naturally.
Well, thank you so much for filling in for Mike. And this has been another episode of the Mechanical Room. We have not missed a month since we kicked this off in 2021. This is season 2, episode 10.
Wow.
And I've got big plans again for the Christmas special to end the year.
Right.
We're going to do another game show, perhaps.
And remember when I said if you guys are going to do it, make sure you do it regularly or don't do it at all.
That's right. Well, it has to be regularly.
Right.
So,
And you guys have done it. And
We have.
We've had. I say we. I use we when it's
the royal we.
the royal we, right? when I because I had nothing to do with it. You've had some great guests on the show. So
Yep. Even Rob had mentioned that because it's so funny. Talk about BC. He was our guest today from BC. We've had Colin Sadler on the podcast. We've had Ben Thompson on the podcast. We've had Terrence of the Impetus on the podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm probably we've featured.
So don't you feel like the rest of Canada now feels left out? Like they're not.
Well, they better time to up the game. The rest of Canada. We've even featured, and it's funny enough we didn't mention this, but RNJ Mechanical had already won a Show Us Your Pipe month. One of those installs for Air Excellent was the winner for that month.
Yeah.
So he had already been featured on the podcast, and we have featured many, and actually we have featured some Toronto, GTA, Ontario area installations on that segment.
Yeah.
Including the one that's for this month as well.
Oh, what is? Does that go before or after?
It goes before. I pre-recorded.
So
that
you can
part,
tell
that
me
section.
who the winner is.
The winner was Foundry Mechanical,
Okay.
and a great NTI installation that featured Watts and Viga and Kalethi, real good category leaders, including the Iniflu product.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So that's it for October.